It's like I need to go ahead and start working on the business and not so much in it.
In the
Like,
business. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just so again, like both of my hands are in there, and it's like I'm going ahead and using my nose to go ahead and do something a little extra on the side. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you need to go ahead and at least pull one of these hands out, if not both of them, so you can go ahead and if you want to make this business bigger, you want to make it greater, make a more lasting impact around maybe not just New England.
Yeah.
You need to take a step back from these people that, you know, you're training so many people and running a business. Maybe you should go ahead and split that in half now.
Welcome to Mindset Mastery with Julissa Edwards, the podcast dedicated to helping high performers unlock their true potential and cultivate a powerful mindset for success. I'm your host, Julissa Edwards, a mindset coach and advocate for healthy high performance. Join me on this transformative journey as we delve into strategies, insights, and inspiring conversations with experts and thriving high performers. Get ready to master your mindset, elevate your performance, and create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to another interview style episode on Mindset Mastery. So, today we have the honor of interviewing Dave Merchant. He is the founder of the Traveling Trainer, New England's first mobile fitness company. Such a cool concept. He has a passion for not just physical health, but creating healthy mindsets for his clients so they can live the life they dreamt of and attain their physique goals. We speak about so much on this episode, and it really hones in on the mindset behind managing individuals, how that crosses over with client retention, and the importance of building relationships in business. And also, we sprinkle in some concepts regarding imposter syndrome. So, this is for anyone who, honestly, whether you're in the beginning of your business, if you're looking for good mindset tips and shifts of maybe leaving your 9 to 5 and how to use the skills that you already attained to build something new or simply build a business while still in your 9 to 5. We talk about so many great revelations and insights on how you have everything you need internally to be successful, why imposter syndrome comes up, and what the ego's role in that is. It's a jam packed episode, and I can't wait for you to dive in. Hi, Dave. Super excited to have you on the call today. For those that don't know, Dave and I met on The Blocks, which is an entrepreneurial competitive TV show where we did a lot of things and we connected and we were kind of on the same page here. And we're going to talking about it probably later today. But one of our biggest touching points was on imposter syndrome. So before we get into flow, hi, Dave. Thank you for being here.
Jalissa, thank you for having me. I appreciate the time you've given us here to talk a little bit more and help teach and encourage more individuals to become a little bit better.
Yeah. Let's get into it. So, first and foremost, I want to give you some time to just share with us what it is that you do. So, I gave like a general introduction, but I think what's really cool is that you are the first traveling trainer in New England with a mobile fitness company. How cool is that?
That's great. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, when you do something that you love, that you say you never work a day in your life, and of course we'll dive into that. Of course, it's work, but this is something that it was bred during. I like to call it the bad times, right? During 2019, 2020, everything
Mm,
got shut down during that pandemic, and there were a lot of people that still want to go ahead and get healthy, get active, and move. And sure, I had access to it. I was managing a gym at the time. I could go into that facility, work out alone, but the general public didn't have this kind of access. So, what could I do for my clients at first to, bridge the gap so they'd be able to still stay active, stay healthy, and not sacrifice their health, and give them that accountability, that motivation. So it started first just me in my car, a couple dumbbells, a medicine ball, and some resistance bands, and now we have a fleet of vehicles, sprinter vans that go out and service people all around Massachusetts right now, and New Hampshire, but mostly Massachusetts.
so cool. I love business. I mean, I love all businesses. And I think the longer that we're in the game of entrepreneurship, we get to see what's out there, what people are doing. And I honor all of it. But for yours, especially, like this was a need at a time of crisis, and you
Mhm.
created a solution to that. And now, even post pandemic, right? It's just like, well, who wouldn't want a gym to come to you?
Right. It's come down to here's one big thing that would definitely happen was people had to go ahead and work remote. And what turned into 9 to 5 jobs with commutes in the beginning and end to it have started to become 8 to 6 jobs, and them working overtime and not seeing anything, come out of it aside from the fact that they don't have to drive into work anymore. Sure, they save that commute time, but now when you go ahead and do anything from your work, how you shop, how you go ahead and basically any of that kind of stuff, you can do everything from home. Everything get delivered to you. So why not go ahead and have the gym delivered? We're now, instead of it just looking at it in the eyes of we're in the business of making people healthy, we're also in the business of saving people time. And that's become
Mm,
more of the crucial asset for a lot of individuals now. They're basically becoming money rich but time poor, especially like in our field here as entrepreneurs, which we can dive more into. Is we're running out of time and we're going ahead and we're working, working our butts off, but now we don't have anything to show for it because we're not able to go ahead and do the things that we're working hard to do, like experience life and travel and do all these things. We become a little bit more, enveloped in the business and less time, more, etc.
yeah. For clarities, from my understanding, so when you come to people, your company does that, is it one van for one person, or is your goal to get a couple of people to utilize this one vehicle with all the equipment?
It can go a multitude of ways. So sometimes we do some one-on-one training with just one client at their home. We bring one sprinter van to them. They have basically full access to both their own coach and a whole gym that we can go ahead and maximize their results with. But we've
Mm,
also done group training with, couples, husband and wife, father son. We've done corporate
mm.
wellness events where we train large companies,
So cool.
where they kind of come through and, groups of 3 to 5 per every half hour, depending. So there's a lot of opportunity of different avenues that we can grow this in, and we've been kind of touching upon each one, and we've been slowly gaining more traction in the corporate wellness department, which is awesome,
Yeah.
just so we can get in front of more faces.
I love that. I absolutely think that's so cool. Okay, so we're gonna get into like this is mindset mastery, and we interview so many different businesses, which I love and am obsessed with. And I think the commonality that keeps us all together is just the lifestyle that is within the entrepreneur's life, right? And one of the things that we bonded over at the blocks was imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
right? So how do we surpass that when let's say in your case, like, you're doing something completely new, right? Like, no real guided pathway of how you do that. And I'll say, even for those that maybe there is a guided format of how you can do certain thing in a business, it's still going to be your own flavor, your own touch. I think we are creatives as entrepreneurs, so
Right.
we have to put our own artistry into that. So, how did you navigate doing something so different and keeping your stamina and momentum and belief high during times of hardship?
Now, what I can tell a lot of people who are looking to go ahead, and again, these are people that are looking to start businesses or get their feet on the ground and start running, is to literally just bootstrap it. We talked about that a lot on the blocks. There's a lot of people that go ahead and bootstrap their business. That's basically what happened in my end. And it was just taking that leap of faith. I felt confident that people needed something like this. Thankfully, during that moment, they did. But there have been tons of times, and like we talked about, imposter syndrome, where things get crazy busy, and then all of a sudden you hit this wall where we didn't get any leads this month. I didn't get leads again this month. What's going on here, right? And you start
Mhm.
thinking to yourself, I'm like, is it the business? Is it like there's so many factors that could happen? Is it the business? Is it me? Am I not going ahead and putting up valuable enough content? Am I not going ahead and marketing well enough? Am I not reaching out
Mhm.
to previous, leads or potential new members consistently enough and offering the service in a certain way? You start again, then it becomes like a tornado effect of all these different things that could be going wrong that you get in your head
Yes.
so much about.
Yes.
What needs to happen is for you to
Mm.
go ahead and drop it and again just keep moving forward. What could you do better? Okay, so do it better. Like, exactly what you did wrong, so how can we go ahead and make it right? Figure out how you can make that right and just continue moving forward. At one point something's going to stick, and then you just got to keep continuing on with it. And that's typically what I have been doing is, again, like, you try something out, it doesn't work, all right, let's try and fix it, all right, it's starting to work, cool, and then we run into another roadblock, all right, got to go ahead and fix it. So sometimes, like you said, we're creatives, come into this business, there's not really any solidified businesses that do what I do. So I
Mm,
kind of have to take notes off of gyms, FedEx, UPS, food trucks.
mm,
These are things that kind of do the same thing I do. So you kind of pick and choose
mm.
what things mesh together to understand how can I create this business and really expand it. So it's all about, guess and check, right? Hypothesis, scientific method kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So I think I want to touch about a couple of points that you stated here. So tweaking as we see fit without so much emotionality. I think so. I mentor a slew of different people, but I will say, more people that are more in their feminine energy, which is good, right? Well, it depends. But so feminine energy, I mean, like, we're super attached to this thing that we're creating. We love it so much and we're nurturing it and we want it to grow. And it's all like emotion, like feelings of like, I think this is going to work, and hey, you need that to be successful in business. But then there's the masculine side of things where more is that what you're talking about, like this is just an experiment. We're putting something out, we're testing the hypothesis, we're seeing what's working and what's not, and then we're just tweaking what needs to be fixed here and there. And I love your insight of like my industry, I'm collecting different things from like food trucks and FedEx to see like what's working for them that I can input into my systems to see what will better enhance my company. Amazing, super smart. Yes, that makes sense. Um, my I also what you said was, this rabbit hole, which is the human experience, it's the ego, right? I always teach people that the ego is just trying to keep us safe. So even though if that sometimes sounds like a lot of fear, they don't want you to fail. So, the ego wants you to stay still, and be in this area of homeostasis where I'm going to ask you before you did the mobile fitness, you were an owner of a gym or you worked at a gym or you had your own fitness clients elsewhere?
So I worked at a gym and then I just started managing a gym in the city of Boston. And
Okay.
then everything hit. So
Okay,
I
okay,
was
okay, okay.
managing for a little bit.
Okay, okay. So you already had some behind the scenes knowledge of how to run fitness industry to some capacity.
Hmm.
Okay, beautiful. So yeah, so we're taking our skill sets from prior things because people sometimes are like, well, what could I do for a business? And it's like, hello, your whole life is a resume of skills that you have attained and learned and hopefully mastered in some areas that you can bring into this new thing that you're doing. Right. So for you, it was kind of an easy transition, but still very, very different.
Right. 100%. I would say obviously the big difference is the style of how the business is set up. And along with that, when you worked in a gym, some people don't realize this. So if there's anybody here that ends up listening to this and is like, I want to be a personal trainer, here's one quick tip for you. It's a lot of sales. It's not just you go ahead and walk in and you're training people. You have to get the clients yourself for the most part. I will
Yeah.
say it's a revolving door because of that too. So I've seen a lot of trainers come in and out of the gyms that I've worked at, mainly because they come in, they are very knowledgeable when it comes to exercise. They know the ins and outs. They can get you that success that you want
Mhm.
and the time that you want it to happen. But the issue is they can't communicate. They can't do the sales pitch. They can't go ahead and sell themselves. And that's really tough. So when we talk about like the ego, the homeostasis of keeping ourselves comfortable and safe and making sure that our body is like and our mind is in this state of like comfort, we need to go ahead and slowly test that time and time again. It comes down to the things such as instead of even things such as small as me going ahead and wanting to go ahead and look at my phone and scroll for a couple minutes between something. It's something as small as that to cut out bad habits and along with that create new ones such as calling leads or going out in front of an audience and going onto a game show perhaps, things of
Mhm.
that nature where we're going ahead and really testing ourselves and putting ourselves in that limelight of I could screw this up. I could look bad, but I'm willing to go ahead and test myself and grow and become better from this. So knowing that you're going ahead and doing that is again creating a better version of yourself each and every time.
Yeah, I love that. Um, okay, so I have two questions for you. So we made the connection that you were in a field and you did something new, so you already had some back knowledge of that.
Right.
Let's talk about the spiral that happens when you lean into fear. right? Because then we're not talking about factual things. It's really just emotionality. And that's where people get stuck when trying anything new, whether in business and life and their careers, right? You said something about keeping people like small changes, like not looking at your phone in between clients, right? So there are these small habits that we're trying to create to better ourselves as a whole. I'm actually going to switch up this two-piece question. So you said that for those that don't know, gaining new leads, new clientele in a personal trainer's world is a lot about sales. And I think when you go into business, sometimes people don't recognize that if you're a service-based product, right? You have to master your craft at being a salesperson, right?
Right.
And what I've learned over, I love fitness. I love staying active and all the things. So I've done so many different things of like kickboxing, regular gyms, and like now that I have my entrepreneur hat on, I'm just also recognizing the different sales strategies that different people come across in the fitness realm, right? So
Right.
like kickboxing, for example, or any chain like that, they'll give you a first free class for the most part, and then at the end they try to hook you in and sell you, which I'm not mad at it. Like I got to experience the greatness that you did, and now you're selling me your offers,
Right.
right? Or at a gym like LA Fitness or something like that, it would be like, hey, I remember them saying things like, can you give me 10 of your friends that you would love to have join you in your workouts? And then they would be sending my friends, like marketing emails. So,
Oh yeah.
being the consumer, and out now also being in the game of sales, like I've learned a couple of things that I'm just like, I never knock anybody because in my head, I'm like, at least they're trying something. At least they're doing something to move the needle forward. And like, if it doesn't work, whatever, but that's just data. I think a lot of us
Right.
are afraid to fail and look salesy or schemish and all those things. I'm like, hey, I get it. I've been there too. But the only way that we're going to learn if something works or not is if we try, right? So here's my two-part question.
Yes.
What have you learned being on the receiving end of sales and now being in sales that betters your customer relationship or the chances of them going from a lead to a buyer of your product?
Right.
And then how does that same analogy work for maintaining your client, like getting them to push past their hardships, insecurities when it comes to staying motivated to be fit all year round?
Okay. I believe I'll be able to answer that without asking what was the second question if I
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
go for it right now. And
Yes.
I believe it has everything to do with knowing your product and knowing what you're going ahead and providing. So, yes, I am not fan of right before this, I was going ahead and making some, I guess you could call them warm calls, people
Mhm.
that inquired, but you go ahead and call them and leave them a voicemail, shoot them a text, send them an email, and you do that consistently. One thing I'm not huge on is when people go ahead and like consistently berate your phone with sales calls and leaving the voicemails and such. But I understand, like you said, this is something where they're trying to go ahead and provide a service like we are. And with
Yeah.
everybody else here looking to go ahead and create a business, sometimes it's not that they're ignoring you, although there is that high case because it's like, oh, it's a business line, leave it alone. A lot of us have gone to we just check our voicemails and check our texts and emails, but you make these phone calls, you try to give a personality, a voice to this business. A text and an email doesn't really give a voice. So it's nice to go ahead and call them if you get them on the line, talk to them about the amazing service that you have, how you want to help them. We do go ahead and offer a free session for anyone interested in our business because we're like, I know it's different. I know it's
I
something
know
that
you're
you're
gonna
not
fall
used
in
to.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I just know that if you go ahead and try it, you're gonna want to see us again. Like that,
absolutely.
I just want you to go ahead and experience that. Now, with that same mindset, when we go into how we go ahead and nurture our clients and keep them on top of their game is really again just it's the constant check-ins with them. It's the, calling them if we need to, being like, hey, how's everything going with your workouts? I know I see you often, but I want to go ahead and check in and make sure everything else is good on the other end. We do
Yeah.
talk to them every single time we see them when it comes to their nutrition, their sleep, their hydration, all of that kind of stuff, because everything envelops into your, general health and wellness. But we need to go ahead and make sure that we're staying on top of it and also trying to create some kind of not only just a trainer client relationship, but a friendship, right? It's like you
Yes.
you need to be open with us. You need to
More
go ahead and tell us
personable.
everything. Be personable. If you're a robot and go ahead and be like, Oh, no? Okay, bye. And then just keep doing that. You need to go ahead and create and foster these relationships, or else, you're going to go ahead and churn and burn people, and it's not going to be a successful business, regardless of what kind of service you're serving.
A lot of us, when engaging in sales and trying to engage people into our business, like, let's just be real. Of course, we need cash flow to keep a business alive and not just to put money in our pockets. Like, you have things that you're paying for, equipment, different things that you just need money for. And so I will say, honestly speaking, there are times where our backs are up against the wall and we're like, damn, we need more clients. We need leads because you have things to pay for. And I think the entrepreneur sometimes, and it's listen, I'm not, it's human. Well, there's fear there of like, can I, pay these things on time? All the things we're so hungry to get the next lead that maybe in our experiences, we're getting better at this, but it's not that we're cold, but we're so focused on the sale, we forget about the entire circle of interactions with them before
Right.
they become a client and even during and after, right?
Hmm.
Most of us, go into business for the idea of wanting to help someone or a certain type of population that we have passion for, like fitness and all the things, right? And so I think what's been really helpful for me, in times of where like my fear and imposter syndrome will come up, because let's say we have all these leads, and I've had times in my business where I've had like 8 sales calls and not one of them converted, right? Like, it was a really low period of my business, and I was like, "What is going on?" And then you have those questions of like, "Is it me? What's going on?" Like, and you start to point the finger back, and you just get really insecure, right? And
Right.
you forget, that this is all data. Right. So something that has really helped me, even so, like right now, we're launching for my motherhood program and we're getting a lot of leads. We are getting conversions. And of course, we're getting some people that don't convert. I am more interested on the people that don't convert. Right. I
Right.
want to to you as a person, not trying to sell you. I did this in my DMs the other day of like, hey, can I ask you some follow-up questions for market research just to give me more data to help more people in your situation? And she was like, absolutely, ask away. And I got so much feedback as to why she couldn't invest at this time that had nothing to do with me or anything that I thought that she was struggling with if I didn't ask.
Right. There's a thing that we actually do when we have our new coaches start their job is when we go ahead and send them out, I go ahead and send out an email to like an email blast to all the clients that are going to be serviced by them. And I'm like, hey, look, if I hear that they're doing excellent, that's not enough. I usually tell them, like, I need you to go ahead and like, we need to be critiqued because there's only one way that we're going to go ahead and get better. Right.
Mm,
And it's you going ahead and finding some fault in our stars. So if we're feeling like we're on top of the world the whole time, but you guys are just keeping your mouths shut about how we're not overperforming or doing the things that you need us to do because you want to be nice, you're actually doing more harm than you are good. If you
yep.
think you're being nice, you're actually harming the business. So I'm like, I need you to go ahead and find something that this
That we
person
can work
needs to go
on.
ahead and work on. Exactly. Anything. I was like, because then we have something to go ahead and tell them to work on. They have something to improve with, and then we can go ahead and get better measures from their clients. They can get better success from it.
So I'm going to ask another two full questions. I think there's so many similarities here. So thank you
Okay.
for what you said. Yes. How many coaches do you have underneath you, if you don't mind sharing?
4.
Okay, beautiful. So you're in the game of entrepreneurship of now managing, looking your managing skills crossing over of now
Right.
managing for either employees or contract employees underneath you, right? And I'm sure you can attest that, that is a skill set to learn how to manage individuals in your business, right?
Right.
Okay, so what is your mindset behind everyone keeping the culture, the passion, the vision for your business while working underneath you, and keeping their morales up? And how does that relate to keeping people on their fitness journeys morale up as your client?
Great question, especially when it comes to somebody working remote for the most part. Most of our coaches are very autonomous. So since they drive around in our vehicles, they're out and about. It's not like they're in a gym where we can go ahead and create this energy and culture within it, but we can go ahead and create the culture with the coach and have
Mhm.
the coach disseminate that to their clients. So generally with the morale is understanding like how much potential they can go ahead and, grow when it comes to the business. I tell them that this is, again, boots on the ground. We're starting here, like, from the bottom right now. We're creating that foundation for our business. What could happen next is entirely up to you too. We try to go ahead and create some culture by having a little bit more of a relationship with our coaches, where we're starting to go ahead and plan events where all our coaches and our clients can go ahead and come together. We're looking at come like around like May, running the stairs at Harvard Stadium, and then after that going to like a brewery or something, having like a couple beers or whatever if they want to. I'll probably be driving, so makes sense not to. But creating these events is going to be something that will foster better relationships with them, with each other, with their clients, with me. And when you create that culture now, right, people want to go ahead and improve. They want to see where this product can go. They want to see how much far forward they can do. So that comes down to, even with our clients, if we're going ahead and doing those things for them, they create a community, they foster new friendships with regards to the other clients that have similar goals. Of course, they're not at the gym together, they're working out at home, but now it's like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do a workout with Dave today at 8. I was wondering if any of you guys wanted to go ahead and join. And, Charles, like, I'd love to go ahead and join. I'm down the road, actually. And then they go ahead and they work out together. Do you guys want to go ahead and grab lunch or grab breakfast, whatever it is? And they're like, obviously, I'm going off to the next spot, but they go ahead and they get together. They create that friendship. They create camaraderie. They push each other to new levels. We create community, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that answers your question there, where how we can go ahead and foster and grow and, keep everybody's head on where we can go next and take the next step forward.
Yeah, I love that. So what I'm hearing is community is where it's at, right? For
Mhm.
both your coaches and also your clients. So because I was gonna ask, like, let's say someone who's just trying to be fit and not even into business and they're listening to this episode, like, what is going to be something that keeps you on track? I could think about so many like mindset things that a professional fitness trainer would guide you in, and that is valuable. But what I'm hearing mostly is like you need community. This can't be a one person, like it can't be all on you, because correct me if I'm wrong, eventually you will buckle. Like you won't prioritize it. So if you're part of a larger movement where you could probably fill in the blanks, like you're more likely to continue your fitness um goals or continue striding towards those fitness goals, correct?
Yeah, I'd imagine it as like I can go ahead and work out and, let's just imagine it this way. I'm going ahead and I'm doing a bench press. Let's just use 100 pounds for easy math. I'm going to go ahead and do my sets of 12. And I'm like, I could go heavier, right? If I'm alone, I might just go ahead and say, but maybe next time. If
Mhm.
there's somebody there to go ahead and keep me accountable, push me, whether it's a community and a coach, I'm going to go ahead and, push myself forward. It's going to add that extra 1%, 5%, whatever increase over time. Because it's like, I saw how that weight moved for you. I think you can go ahead and do better, add more to it, right? You build up onto the next one. I'm now lifting 110, whatever it is, right? I think it's what will give everybody the kick in the butt to go ahead and push themselves just a little extra. And again, compound interest over time, that creates a huge difference in the course of even just 1 year.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. For me, this is such the importance of having a mentor slash coach in your life to just help you push the needle forward just a little bit more than you would have by yourself.
Right.
Yeah, love that. Okay. Um, I feel like we've learned a lot about your business, how do you, I would love to know how you keep yourself motivated, as an entrepreneur, as a coach, and just as an overall human being, Dave. What steps do you have in your life to make sure that you're being the best person you can be for your company and for your clients?
So we'll look internal and then we'll go towards external stuff.
Love
So
it.
a lot of things I like to go ahead and do for myself is I need to work out. It's my mental clarity. It's my moment where I can go ahead and focus just on myself. So I do need that me time, whether it's again like at a gym or if I'm working out with my vehicles, just going ahead and working out, listening to music, just zoning out. The only thing I'm focusing on is not dying under a bar. Right. And then from that as well is just trying to find things that will go ahead and bring me happiness. whether that's spending time with my girl, or I like to go ahead and listen to a lot of comedy podcasts. I like comedy a lot. So that kind of is enjoyable for me to go ahead and, again, space out for a moment, just listen to what's happening in front of me and be able to go ahead and just settle. Now, when we look external, I'm going ahead and looking at things to better my business. And what I like to do is I like to go ahead and be a little bit better. So I have that drive to go ahead and expand everything when it comes to, are we doing the right things when it comes to marketing? How are my clients doing? Do they want to go ahead and, for a friend and things of that nature to, help better the business? But without getting stuck in a rut, it's very common, like we've discussed, to get caught in the, nobody's going ahead and there's no referrals coming in, no leads coming in. I'm getting a little bit stuck in regards to, the imposter syndrome. So maybe it's like, am I asking the right questions? Do they really don't think that anybody could be helped by this, or what's going on? And that will be something that'll kind of eat you. But I'm very much someone to go ahead and just be like, just show up again, keep showing up. At one point, things will change. And I do feel like, as well, did I answer that second part of the question correctly? Because I feel like I kind of went on a different tirade, but that's what I have to say about that.
No. I
Okay.
think you had mentioned like internally we got those checkpoints, and then you said you wanted to go into it externally.
Okay. Got you. Yeah. It would just be, yeah, things of that nature where, yeah, and I guess along with that, aside from making sure somebody's mindset is good for bringing the right service to business, make sure you find that time for yourself too. Let me wrap that to this. Like,
Yeah.
there is things like, if you enjoy working, it's great. But at one point, like, again, like an artist can go ahead and enjoy the strokes of the painting until it costs them millions of dollars. Then there's timelines, there's certain things that need to be done. And all of a sudden it doesn't become free anymore. It becomes a prison for some individuals. So I like to go ahead and we travel. We don't do anything too, lavish or luxurious, but we'll go ahead and take a weekend away. We might go, up into upstate New Hampshire or somewhere in Maine, or go into the city. Sometimes we have a week off. We go to Florida or Turks and Caicos or something nice like that, just to kind of decompress, spend some time with, your loved ones, or hang out with friends. But make sure that you find those time spots. Like, it's tough when you run a business, because you hear the joke that, oh, you run a business, you can just go ahead and take a day off, right? It's like, no, man, that's like $5,000. It's like, I just can't take a day off. It's more expensive than like working at a salary job. It becomes a lot more different. So uh making sure you plan those out when you become fully invested in a business and trying to get things going, like, schedule these things out, so that way you can go ahead and you have a goal to aim for. I want to hit X, Y, and Z before my vacation. Try to hit those points, and it's not the end of the world if you don't hit it. But you set a mission, and you went ahead and moved yourself forward. You moved the needle a bit, and that should be something to be congratulated for. And you can go ahead and enjoy that vacation and come back with a new mindset, clear-headed.
Yeah, I love that. What I'm hearing is just creating a different identity from the business. I think that it's super normal when we're passionate about anything that we like overindulge in this one thing that we're doing, even if it's a positive thing. It's like this is like all that I'm about. And listen, that there's a stage in that in the business. But I think maturity comes when you're able to separate yourself from the business of like, yes, I am running X thing and it's a fantastic fucking machine and I love it and we're doing so many great things. And I do X, Y, and Z outside of this. Right. When we're just only in one aspect of our lives, whether it's flourishing or not, you're only doing one part of your human self, where there are so many other parts of yourself that get to be lit up and stimulated if you
Right.
allow yourself to have that time, to that will make you a better overall human being to then bring back to your business as a whole self, and not just I only do this one thing.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. Okay, beautiful. So I want to ask now kind of a vulnerable question of, you're doing amazing things. You started this brand new thing. You paved your own way. You have 4 people working underneath you. And I'm sure other parts that we don't even know about your business that you're managing and things of that sort. Like, we can confidently say that you're running a successful business. You understand the importance of customer relations and management, and how relationships is really the core of that, making people feel heard, being in community, more so than just running a business, right?
Right.
Um, what is something right now that you're struggling with, whether it be in business or in your interpersonal life? For me, I always say I think they're one and the same. There's so many similarities. But yeah, something that you've been having a hard time getting through or getting a better handle on.
Yeah, I'd have to say that I've definitely put a lot of my eggs into one basket when it comes to my business. I know that, when you start a business, it's going to become something like that where it will become something of a 24/7 for a little bit. And I've definitely lived under the impression or the guise of do it while you're young,
Mm,
whether that be the sleepless nights, the long days, the sacrifice time doing possible things that you could enjoy. And I did that for a while, and it definitely cost me some things when it comes to relationships, friendships. A lot of buddies of mine, they do 9 to 5 jobs, and what's going on this weekend? Work. I'm busy. I got this going on, that going on,
mm,
and it's not something that anybody should feel like they deserve a gold medal for working.
mm,
It's something that I struggle with because I feel like it's more of a fault for me. It's more of a negative, a con. It's like I work so much. Like if you put me on if it was a dating profile, pros is like all this, great things, but the con is like he's never really available.
mm,
And I feel
mm,
bad.
mm,
Of course, I feel bad for my significant other because she'll be free. She gets out of work at like 4. I'm done at 8.
yeah.
It's like I don't know, do something, I guess. But and that's the same thing when it comes to family events or things of that nature. You don't want to go ahead and how do I say this? You don't know what you have till it's gone.
Mm,
And you can go ahead and you lose friendships and family members perhaps, and you go ahead and you're just working too much, and then it's gone and you got lost in the sauce. So make sure that you go ahead and have time for your family and your friends. That would be one piece of information that needs to stick for everybody is spend time with them because you don't know how long they're going to be here. And if you really care about them, you're going to make sure that you show up for them. Your business can grow for 10 years. It doesn't have to grow in 1 year, So
mm,
that's important. It's not a race, but I know how much you want it to be. You want to be up there. You want to make the millions fast, but you also don't know what else is going to happen for other people in a year. And then guess what? You can't share that success with them. They're gone.
mm. Okay, so this is like thank you for sharing that. And in the way that you're saying it, it seems like you've had some tough lessons around that. Um, I will say that, even in the comment that you made prior, like if I don't show up for work, that's like 5K potentially lost. What I am really good at picking up is like just like similarities of like where it's mindset, right? And so there is this hustler mentality of like go 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 to be successful, and like who doesn't want success fast? I think we all want that,
Right.
right? But what you're saying is that because of that, I'll say a trained lifestyle. Like usually when people come into business, what is showing up for them via insecurities, via mindset, it's not, they didn't start within your business. This is who you've been for a long time. Right. So I would ask you, Dave, if you're open to sharing, like there's a mentality of like it has to get done now, this kind of fear-based mentality, like if I don't do it now, I'll lose out on something, right? And so in the business, it's like, yeah, I want to get, the money, the impact fast. I want, and that means for right now, I'll have to say no to certain things, right? The complicated thing about running a business, like you said prior, is that like no one's telling you you have to work these hours, but you feel like you have to,
Right.
right? And that's all mindset, right? So I would ask you, Dave, before the business or in other areas of your life, where else do you feel that things have to be done in like a pressure cooker, or else you're missing out on something?
It's a great question. I don't know where this came from, but I always worked a lot. Uh, could it be how I was brought up? I don't think so, but I do. I think it was just maybe the people I was surrounded with. Everybody else was like very much like we work and we work a lot kind of deal. And I just kind of met that same quota for them. And I continued it on when I went to college. I took on a lot of things from, running a fraternity, doing Army ROTC, working for the state, the UMass PD, working at a gym. I did like 80 things at once, played rugby, and I'll at that time going to school too and getting an education. And then I went and worked at the gym, and I worked Monday through Saturday, 5 a.m. to like noon, and then 3 to 8. I don't know. Maybe it was the fact that during that time there wasn't just as people weren't getting paid well enough in that industry when it came to personal training. And I could tell you from what we do now for our coaches, they weren't, because that's something I want to make sure I took away from that was I was not getting paid enough. It took me like 8 years to go ahead and get paid well enough to live in a city. And Boston is super expensive. So that was before everything started inflating. So it could have been just something where I want to go ahead and make sure I'm comfortable enough, but I think I just picked that up off of a lot of individuals who were doing the same thing around me. Again, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with, so I was probably the sixth person there that picked up on it.
Yeah, yeah. And yes, so what I've been mentored through and also what I've learned in I understand I was the hustler. I was doing the most in a sorority, captain of this, doing all the things, leading like I was even in high school, in grade school, I was always doing the most. That's all I knew how to do, be involved in so many things. And then business really changed my outlook for me for the first time ever, because it for me it was a mix with spirituality, and not religion per se, but just a connection to self, to soul, and like what else is out there, and a lot of rewriting of our subconscious beliefs. So I'll say this: anything works if you work it.
Right.
You want to be the hard worker that doesn't have time for people, but you have a successful business. That will be your truth. And I'm not frowning upon it. It's just it's your belief system. If you believe that you can also make a grand impact without being the one running the machine 24/7, that will also be a truth for you. The harder part is, can I get my subconscious? You have to think about it like this is 10, 20 years of ingrained practice for you. So for people that are listening to this podcast, there's a lot of people like us, right?
Right.
And I've I had to do so many things to change my perspective of like, well, what if rest equals more money? Right? Which you already mentioned in your vacations, right? It's like
Oh
you
yeah.
allow yourself little pieces here and there, but like, what if you did more of that and more money came rolling in? And it's not just about the money. What if you did more of stillness, and your clients or your the coaches that you're managing had more autonomy to make their programs, and the way their efficiency even better. I've learned time and time again, right now I juggle, business, motherhood, wife, house management, things like I'm still managing the person that I am is still very much within me. But I've learned that if I hire help, right, if I lean on others to take control, I'm not the expert in all these things, and they could do a better job if I just lead them appropriately.
Right.
Right. And
Yeah.
leading them appropriately means I can't take my hands off. So like in, my business meeting today with my team, it's like, yeah, I noticed that if I don't do this, this leads to less lead conversion. So my automatic thought there would have been like, well, Jalissa, you got to get up in there. You got to do the things if you want to, that was my first initial thought. And then I was like, hold up, that's going to cost me a lot of time. How
Hmm.
can I train somebody on my team to make this better, whether through a system or through their doing, right? That they want to do this thing, their expertise, and help move that needle forward without my hands being directly in the pot for that conversion to happen.
Right. So that's actually what I would call how I am like in regards to that, like always needing to be busy and active in that sense. I would call it it's funny because it's like your Achilles heel. It's like it does so much for you, but when it breaks, it really like it impedes any kind of progress. So we've thankfully like we've recognized this after going ahead and going through Wes Bergman's the blocks. Like I realized a lot of this is something that it's like I need to go ahead and start working on the business and not so much in it. Like
Business. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just so again like both of my hands are in there, and it's like I'm going ahead and using my nose to go ahead and do something a little extra on the side. It's like, no, you need to go ahead and at least pull one of these hands out, if not both of them, so you can go ahead and, if you want to make this business bigger, you want to make it greater, make a more lasting impact around maybe not just New England.
Yeah.
You need to take a step back from these people that, you're training so many people and running a business. Maybe you should go ahead and split that in half now. Like instead of it being 90-10, it should be 50-50, if not mostly working on it. Like you have the coaching, you have the capacity for them to go ahead and grow. You should probably go ahead and start slowly working your way out of it, or else we're going to go ahead and stay stagnant. You're going to stay in that same position. So I needed that week of filming to go ahead and recognize that. And that's basically going to be our big move come, soon for anyone listening, but it should be, everything should be more me working on this by at least the end of this year,
Yeah, yeah. And I'll say this last tidbit on this mindset portion of this thing. So yes, that all that we learned at the blocks, I'm implementing the crap out of it. It was
Oh, yes.
and I will say that's still very masculine. We thrive off of masculine practice. So I'm not saying don't do it. Clearly, we want business to scale, but that's
Right.
still a very masculine thing to do. And what we need for what you shared is stillness, and stillness is feminine.
Mm,
We have to become, because you could also work really hard and working on the business and still be tied up. Your business will run better, but it's just going to be a new thing that your ego attaches to, of like, we got to do this thing, we got to do this thing, we got to work,
right. Yes.
So the medicine is still in how can we give Dave more opportunities for pockets of stillness and retrain his subconscious to believe, because I'm a proof testament of that, that when you rest and when you don't do things solely for the business, more abundance comes your way.
Right. No, 100%. So that's another thing we'll obviously be tackling as well.
Yeah. All good. Okay, so wonderful. This was a beautiful conversation. I think so many people are going to be able to relate to it. We have, we come from a hustler cultural mentality, and we're just slowly, trying to chip away at that system so that people can have more freedom to breathe and enjoy life even more. So, I love what you're doing. I love the impact that you have. How can people find you? How can they work with you? Yes, what is the easiest way for them to get in contact with you?
Got you. Yes. So it's traveling trainer MA, M as in Mike, A as in Apple, on all socials. And you can go ahead and find us on travelingtrainer.com. If you're in the New England area, we go ahead and offer a free discovery session for anybody interested in going ahead and seeing what our services are about. So I believe that's all the ways that they can go ahead and reach out to us.
Awesome. Yes, all of our links will be in our show notes. So if you want to get in contact with Dave, just scroll down and you can find his Instagram and ways to get in contact with him. Okay, Dave, thank you so, so much.
So this was more than a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning into Mindset Mastery with Julissa Edwards. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast to receive future episodes packed with valuable insights. Remember to follow us on social media at thehealthy.highperformer for more inspiration, tips, and updates. If you found this episode helpful, we'd appreciate it if you could share it with your network and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us as we continue to empower high performers like you. Until next time, keep mastering your mindset and thriving as a healthy high performer.